Okay, so there's the tail blades installed. Take a little closer look there. You see the way we orientate the tail blades is that the leading edge of the blade should be coming up and from the bottom up towards the boom. So you can see as this spins, the blade comes from the bottom up towards the boom, like that. And that's how you know it's the tail blades are orientated in the correct direction. So that's the tail blades installed and finished. So the next thing is to bolt on the main blades. So I've got them off to one side here. So here we go. This is the blade. There we go. And we can see that these are a carbon blade. You know, they're reasonably stiff. You see I'm bending them there. Reasonably stiff blade, very thin profile, very much a 3D performance blade, so hopefully they'll go very well, and I just put a red sticker on one of them just for the purposes of helping me track them initially. So I'll bolt these onto the machine now. Okay, so there we see we've got the main blades bolted onto the machine now. So the next task for me is to tidy up all this wiring and get the receiver hooked up and solder a Dean's connector onto the speed controller. So if I swing this over, you can see that the speed controller wires here don't have any Dean's connector on, so I need to get a Dean's on there. So basically bundle all this wire up, plug it into the receiver, which I need to find a mount point for, and then we're pretty much done. We're going through electronic setup at that point and going out for first test flights. So I'm going to tidy up this wire now and install a receiver, and I'll show you how and where I've placed all of that once it's done. And get a Dean's connector on here as well. Okay, so here we have my electronics layout. This is really in a very basic form at the moment, in that I haven't secured any of the wires. But basically I've got an AR6200 and that's going to go in the bottom of the frames here, and the extension receiver for the AR6200 is secured on the back, on the little flat plate up the top here, so you should get nice reception up there. I had thought about running the wire for this along here and putting it on the front of the frames here, but it meant that I'd have to route this wire directly past the motor, and so I decided that I'd be better off going up at the back here next to the gyro. So this has got a sticky pad on the bottom of it, and basically it's going to push up inside the frames side on, so I can put it in there now actually like that. So that's going to go in there like that, and this little wire will stick out through the bottom of the of this slot here, so that'll just stick out the bottom of the frame slightly like that. And then it's just a case of securing these wires that are coming down past the main gear to make sure that they're not able to touch the main gear, and we're done. That's the receiver installation and all of the cables plugged and ready to go. So I'll now go ahead and tidy all this up and get it installed nicely, and then we can come back and have a look at it. Okay, so here we have the finished electrics install. On the right hand side of the frames I've got the speed controller and I've cable tied it to the machine. Align doesn't recommend doing this in terms of cable tying the speed controller on. They prefer you to use a sticky pad. This isn't really tightly cable tied, it's just enough to hold that speed controller in place. You can see you can move it around a little bit. So I'm not stressing the circuit board too much. Okay, if we turn it over, this is the other side of the frames. So I've got my gyro cable and my tail servo cable going in and out of here, effectively to the receiver. The 6200 is in there on its side, stuck to the other side frame. So you can see the aerial pointing out the bottom there, down here, and the other aerial is inside there, and you can see it at the back there pointing backwards, so it's away from the main gear. And I've got the wires from the two servos at the front here coming down and in there, and I've just got a cable tie here just to make sure that they can't touch the main gear. And I've also cable tied the little degaussing ring that's on the speed controller cable, and that's just got a little cable tied through it so that can't sort of flop around in there and go up and hit the main gear as well. So all the wires are nicely tucked in here for the AR6200, and then the satellite receiver is sat up there on the back with the GP750 gyro there as well, and the cable's plugged in for the tail servo. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I've got another little cable tie here as well just to make sure this wire can't come down and touch the main gear. Tried to minimise as much as I can wires going past the motor. I couldn't route around, along here and round and down into the receiver because the wires just weren't long enough. So these ones are just tracking past them. These ones here are just tracking past the motor. So I couldn't go along here and down and in because these cables aren't long enough. So I've just got those two coming past the motor. And that's pretty much it. That's the electronics install.